you know, they put on the masks here. And the police say, please put on your mask, rightly cover your mouth and your nose. And the lady said, it suffocates me. Now, these excuses are there because we do not want to put on masks. But yet again, there are also excuses of, I don't want to sleep on a mosquito net because it suffocates me in the night, it's hot, it does all these things. There are these things that attach to mosquito nets. And I just want to know how you're actually managing that. Because if we will fight malaria, and you will distribute a net to a person who is not going to use the net, who is not going to sleep under that net, then I think it will be an exercise in futility. Dr. Lugemwa.
Well, I appreciate your findings. And it's not at that spot that you got a woman who will tell you that they sweat a lot. There are many stories around the net. But a net is not a new intervention in this country. Globally, nets have been used. And for those who read the Bible, the net, especially if you read in some books, the net is as old as before Jesus was born. In the book of Judith, chapter 10, I think verse 13, they talk of a net in the Bible. So a net is not a new phenomenon. But said and done, I agree, some people may sweat a lot. But common sense should tell you that actually if you're sleeping under a mosquito net, I know those nets are well made in such a way that for every 1 square centimeter of a net, that material, there are 25 to 30 holes. And they've been scientifically measured to allow oxygen saturation and carbon dioxide flow. Each centimeter, what we call net specifications, globally, that centimeter has about 30 holes, allowing oxygen flow and carbon dioxide getting out. But if you feel that it's hot, you don't cover yourself with a blanket plus a bed cover. Because you know, man-mosquito contact will lead to the consequences I talked to. You can get a mosquito bite, get an infection, and die. We lose almost 20 people per day, and these are the ones that we record. But there are people who die in the village before they reach hospitals. So this is the minimum number we're talking about. So if you consider the sequela of malaria after you've had it, it has complications. For a pregnant woman, for example, if you say you're sweating a lot and you don't sleep on a mosquito net, you're likely to abort that baby of yours. You're likely to have a stillbirth. You're likely to have a baby who is too small to grow, low birth weight as it were. You're likely to produce a child with malaria. At that very day you are in labor suit, the child starts getting a fever. So when you compare the sequela of malaria infection to the excuse that we give that it's hot. If it's hot, use just a bed sheet and you sleep under mosquito so that you reduce the man-mosquito contact, and that way you're protected. If you are rich enough, you may not necessarily use it, because I know some people may not, yeah, rightly so, there could be a little bit of allergy, and you can use a plain net, at least without any chemicals.
I actually wanted you to address us on that, because you've also talked about treated mosquito nets.
Yes.
And you know, when you talk about treated mosquito nets, then you are giving us nets that have chemicals in them. And this also now scares and worries people.
No, they shouldn't. Because all these chemicals have been approved by the World Health Organization and even by our scientists here. At the ministry, we have the National Malaria Control Division, which goes in for these studies. We study those chemicals which are impregnated in those nets. By the way, most of them, all the nets are impregnated by a certain chemical which is from a plant. So apart from allergies, the chemicals are being proved to be non-lethal. They are only lethal to the mosquito, but not to the human being. But assuming that because allergies don't really...
What do they do to the mosquito? Do they chase away the mosquito or they kill the mosquito?
They do both. They repel. And if a mosquito insists on sitting on the net, it kills it, absorbs that chemical, it goes in its foot pad and kills it. So that's what it does. But for those who can... afford, or who may not be very good candidates for the net, and those who can afford, they can have what we call, because there are many strategies of malaria control, you can have what we call indoor residue spray. You can spray your house with a chemical, or because there are different WHO, World Health Organization approved chemicals, including Ministry of Health, which we approve. We test every mosquito and see which one kills the mosquitoes best. You can spray your house, and for about 6 to 8 months, you not see any mosquito or any other insect. So if those who feel that they are, they find the nets hot and they can afford to have their houses sprayed, that's even good.
Can I wash the mosquito net itself if it's dirty also?
Oh yeah, the chemical impregnated there in the net can have 20 washes.
I can wash it 20 times.
20 times.
But the frequencies of washing?
Of course. It is supposed to last at least 3 years.
So I need to wash it 20 times in 3 years?
In about 3 years.
Okay.
And why should you make it dirty? You try to make it, because it's part of your bed sheets. So you're not sleeping in the net that you make it. It's just hung in the air, and I'm sure that is not likely to come.
It just depends on where you're sleeping and what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes.
But see, you try to protect, because it's protecting you against the disease that kills.
Okay.
You mentioned in the last 8 months when we've had COVID, we've lost more than 1,000 people to malaria compared to the ones of 200 of COVID. So people should really know that actually malaria is a killer disease. We've lost more than 1,000 people to malaria since April to date. We've lost 220 to
so what COVID has killed is just one third or a fifth.
It's about a fifth.
It's a fifth of it's a fifth of what?
So there's no room to romance with malaria, say the net is hot or something like that. We need to really come to grips. After other countries have got rid of it, using the same strategies and tools. So we need to sensitize our people that actually when we give you a net, how to sleep under it, how to care for it. When it is torn, stitch it, because a mosquito will always pass through any little hole
and find you in there,
because it has high propensity for human blood. It can have any other animal to bite, but it likes human blood. Like you, Jagend, I'm sure you like coffee. I can see you taking coffee. So that's the same way the mosquito likes human blood.
Human blood.
It will go for it fast if it can get it.
Okay.
So people can spray their houses, but also when it comes to construction of houses, let them have well ventilated houses with the nets, because some of these people build houses. I'm sure KCC, the owners should go to KCC how to construct, because these are laws which are there, public health laws, which stimulate and under engineering. You must put up a vent with a hole so that mosquitoes don't enter. You must. Other methods are to close the windows early, around 6 or something. Put on long clothes if you want to stay outside. So there are many other ways. You can use creams to prevent mosquito bites. There are many methods if you can't use a net. At least the worst is not to protect yourself against a mosquito. Okay. A mosquito is as old as mankind.
Older than you.
Yeah.
Mr. Muhummuz, here is your, now the exercise is on distributing mosquitoes, and you are teaching the people. What's your target like for Kampala? The number of people that you're going to distribute, how is it going to be, how do you begin, why do you begin, and so on and so forth?
Well, Kampala's micropopulation is currently at about 2.49 million.
Of the people who are residents?
The micro population, that is, after UBOS has made its statistics, and when we come in, to count, when Ministry of Health comes in to count, when KCCA goes into count, because we have people who come, for example, into the markets and sleep in the markets. They are not part of the households of Kampala, but they sleep in the markets. We have people who travel, who traverse the city, who sleep in the guest houses, who sleep in all these places. Those are not part of the UBOS population. But as per
and you call those micropopulation?
That is the micropopulation. The micropopulation is bigger than the statistical population, which is gotten from UBOS. Now UBOS gives us 1.68 million, that is 1,680,000, but the micro population is 2.49 million. Now this 2.49 million resides in about 736,000 households within the city. So in the city we have 736,000 households. Now it is these households that are distributed in the 5 divisions of Kampala that are going to receive mosquito nets, as well as high density places like markets where people tend to reside, because during COVID-19 we saw some ladies, some people who are sleeping in the markets. People sleep in the markets for various reasons. One of them would be because of the level of income. They wouldn't want to commute home every day. They have merchandise that they need to complete selling, and an array of reasons. We have the street children, for example. We have the homeless people in the city, and all these need protection. We need to protect the entire citizenry and diversity of Kampala. So all these are to get nets. Nets are going to be distributed to each household and also to those unique groups that are within the city. Yes.
Okay. Maybe right now we have 3 million nets.
For the whole country?
We have about 3 million nets for Wakiso and Kampala. The exercise which is going to take simultaneously starting tomorrow, because as he has put it, registration is taking place right now, and I think distribution will start tomorrow. And all these centers, what we call critical distribution centers, have been identified by KCCA and the neighboring districts, and high-level manpower, which is trained, because we are, as we talk now, we've finished almost 120 districts net distribution. So we're only left with, when we distribute in Wakiso and Kampala, we shall be left with only 11 districts. So we've done almost 90% of this exercise. But for Kampala and Wakiso, we have about 6,780 bells, 67,000, and each bell contains about 40. So we have about 30. We have about 3 million for Wakiso and Kampala. So we expect that once the people register, at least each household will have a net. So we have about 3 million nets, and the rest will be for the remaining 11 districts that we shall distribute to.
Okay.
To add on to that, in Kampala specifically, the points he has talked about, the distribution points, we have 2,000 net distribution points where they where
are people supposed to come and walk to the distribution points?
Because these are very close to them. Each parish, depending on the size of the parish, we have 107 parishes. So the 2,000
for Kampala.
For Kampala, the 2,000 points are within the city. So the villages, with the help of the village health teams, the LCs, they'll direct the people to the closest point, and each distribution point, and each household, if you have, each net is for 2 people. But if there are 3 people in the household, then they will get 2 nets. If there are 5 people, then they will get 3 nets.
You don't have half a net because
you can't have half a net. So if this is a household, then we shall have 2 nets plus 1. If we have a 4th person, then still we shall have 2 nets for this household. So that is the pattern of distribution. Okay. Now, to be specific for Kampala, we have been given or allocated 28,733 bells, and each bell contains 40 nets. So we have about 1,149,000 nets.
About 150, about 1,150,000
for Kampala.
Just Kampala.
And the balance of the 3 million is what will go to
Wakiso.
Yes.
Okay. My producers here tell me they have some videos for some testimonies of this particular exercise, and I think we will call for that short break and also listen to these testimonies of the net distribution. Then we'll return, of course. With me in studios is Mr. Mahomes Daniel Nuwabaine, and he's the acting head of public and corporate affairs in the office of the executive director for Kampala Capital City Authority, and Dr. Myers Lugemwa, an expert I've actually known for this disease for so many years.
They call me malariologist.
Actually, your name resonates with malaria itself. At the mention of Myers Lugemwa, I actually see malaria. Or I hear malaria by itself.
Thank God I'm not a mosquito. I'm not going to bite. I'm not a mosquito.
Yes, we'll take a break and return shortly. Don't go away.
The government of Uganda prioritized use of mosquito nets as one of the strategies to protect Ugandans against malaria. Under the ongoing Mosquito Net Distribution campaign, residents in the districts of Kampala and Wakiso will receive mosquito nets on Sunday 10th and Monday 11th January 2021. Your village health team members will move to your respective homes on Friday 8th and Saturday 9th January to register your household members. Distribution of the mosquito nets will take place at designated distribution points on Sunday 10th and Monday 11th 2021 in your respective villages. All households will get at least a mosquito net. Distribution points will be communicated by your VHTs. Ensure that you pick your mosquito nets from the distribution point. The distribution exercise will consider protection of all beneficiaries against malaria and COVID-19. Chase malaria out of your home. Sleep under a mosquito net every night. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health.
Amanya gange yense nakayenga Jovia. Nansizidde no kalangala. Mukikulu kya byonna nsooka okwebaza gavumenti yaffe n'emisaala by'obulamu otuwa obutimba buno. Kubanga mbadde nyina akatimba ak'ensulamu nga nsuzeemu kyenkana emyaka ngenda 45. N'akatimba ako kale kadde kajjamu ebituli nga bwe tuddaabiriza kubanga ng'ennyumba ze tusulamu ezaffe zaabibaawo n'oba weebasenga omwana omutadde mu katimba bubaka bulungi nnyo tuwo ne tujja nga tolimu kweraliikirira nti oba kinakwasa omwana wange. Mwana era nze nebaza gavumenti nebaza nnyo ebale nnyo ebale dda nze nawanise dda ngenda kwebaka n'omwana wange mubike. Siimye nnyo tusiimidde ddala ebale nnyo mwebalire ddala.
You can save a life.
Amanya gange mpitibwa Nandawula Agnes kandi mutuuze w'e Lutoboka disitulikiti yaffe Kalangala. Tusanyukidde nnyo gavumenti okutuwa obutimba bw'ensiri kubanga butugenda tuwonyaako omusujja ogubadde omungi mu baana. Tweyanziza nnyo tweyanzeege. Abakulembeze baffe beebale nnyo beebalire ddala okututuusaako obutimba.
You can save a life.
The NRM National Chairman's Office hereby appreciates all Ugandans for the love and support that you have shown the NRM Chairman Yoweri Kaguta Museveni during campaigns. With that, on the 14th this month, let us all continue to show this overwhelming love and support to our President through the ballot. Please make sure that your vote is not spoiled. On the voting day, arrive at your polling station at 6:30 a.m. You will be given a ballot paper. Make sure you tick or thumbprint in the box. Do not exceed the box to ensure that the ballot is not spoiled. Then fold your ballot paper lengthwise and insert it into the ballot box. Remember, it was President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni that led the War of Liberation of Uganda. He has been tried, tested, proven, and has stood the test of time. He is a true visionary leader. We know our past, our current, and our future as Ugandans. So, for stability, development, and securing your future, vote Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the man wearing a heart at the bottom of the ballot paper.
Amanya nze Mulebwa Joseph, chairman w'ekyalo Buyindi LC1. Ndi musanyufu nnyo olw'akatimba akapya kenfunye akali treated akalimu eddagala erita ensiri. Mbadde nina naye nga tekali treated naye kati nkakasa nga nfunye akagenda okutta ensiri. Nebaza gavumenti wamu ne Ministry of Health olw'okutuwa obuyambi buno era nkakasa nga omusujja gw'ensiri ewange ne mu kyalo kyange labika nga egugobyemu.
Bampita Anthony Byarugaba nze malaria folk person mu district ye Kalangala. Tuli ku mulamwa guno gw'okugaba obutimba bw'ensiri oba UCC Universal Coverage Campaign 2020. Twagala at least ebitundu 85 bibeere nga bifuna obutimba. Tugenda mazinga, tugenda kutambula ebizinga byonna nga tugaba obutimba bw'ensiri. Tugenda kutambula kyalo ku kyalo. Obutimba buno tugenda kuba tubugabira abantu ku byalo okusinziira ku bungi bw'abantu. tugenda kutwala essaawa 2-3 singa obudde bunaaba butusobozesa okubeera obulungi. Obudde singa buneekyanga amayengo gayinza okweyongera. Bwe geeyongera tutwala obudde buwanvu. Amayengo bwe gaba nga gakendedde tweyongeramuko ka supiidi ne tutambula bulungi nnyo. Naye ate enkuba singa etusanga ku mazzi ojja kwesanga nti ate tujja kwebikka. Coxswain waffe oba boat operator ye asigala teyeebise kuba alina okulaba gye tulaga. Enkuba bw'etonnya kitegeeza nti ejja kuba etutataganyamuko mu ntambula yaffe. Abandi badde bagenda ku bizinga ebiwerako tuyinza okugenda ku bizinga ebitono. Endiboota emu kuba agijja mu sitoowa waggulu n'agikkiriza wammanga ku mwalo ate n'agisitula n'agiteeka mu lyato ate n'agijja mu mwalo n'agitwala mu sitoowa ku kyalo. So ogenda okulaba nga beyiro emu esaasaanyizibwako 2,000 mu kugisitula obusituzi zokka zokka. So twetaaga ebintu ebiwerako nga Kalangala district olw'okuba bye tukozesa bingi nnyo. Ekyo kireetera okubeera nti tuspendinga kinene nnyo mu Kalangala district olw'okuba tuba tutambulira mu mazzi buli kadde. Okuva ku district okutuuka ku Bubeke era kijja kutwalira essaawa 2:30. Okugenda e Bufumira kijja kutwalirawo ng'essaawa emu bw'obanga odduse bulungi ng'obudde bulungi dakika 45. Okugenda ekyamuswa ku Gombola era kikwetaagisa essaawa 2 oba 1:30 singa obudde bulungi. Bwe bityo bwe bitambula eno mu bizinga.
Well, thank you so much, and welcome back from that short break. We continue with the conversation and discussion. Now, that's part, or those are part of the testimonies of this exercise of mosquito net distribution that are going on across the country. From Dr. Mazia, 120 districts are covered, which is slightly above 80 or 90% of the entire district. Now, coming to Kampala and Wakiso, then of course reducing that. Ndugu Muhumuza. Yes. Will every one of us get these mosquito nets, or you look at some people and say, Jagana can afford, so he won't get one?
Because he's got a good jacket.
Because
every household, there's 736,000 households in Kampala, plus those in these unique spaces will get mosquito nets. Our target is to have every 2 people and every extra person over the 2 people have a mosquito net. And we surely shall distribute and are committed to distribute these mosquito nets to each of these households. Yes.
Dr. Myers, the economic impact of malaria to the people, and I think it's also very important to talk about these the symptoms of malaria, because people now, I think, contracting malaria, but running to treat COVID-19.
Yeah.
You know, the treatment for malaria is not the same as the treatment for COVID. And now, when somebody knows they have a temperature, they are feeling this, they are, you know, then they rush into getting lemon and ginger and
the
things.
pepper and salt.
Exactly. And yet, because the signs look similar, let's talk about this.
Yeah, just like the opening statement, I said the signs and symptoms of COVID simulate those of malaria, especially the first one, the fever, the bit of weakness and so on. But said and done, as a policy and at the ministry, as Minister of Health, we had to build in the component of malaria first. So there is need for us to test every fever. So not every fever is due to malaria, nor is every fever due to COVID or any other fever-causing disease. So as a strategy and as part of professional accuracy, is that we have to test any fever for malaria, especially even the COVID patients. We test because they could have concurrent diseases, malaria and fever, malaria and COVID occurring at the same time. So we have to test you. And good enough at the ministry or as a country, we have what we call even the simplest test, what we call the malaria rapid diagnostic test, which can be used at even the lowest level, where the village health team members, where my colleague here and Wabaine was working. The village teams who are going to work in the distribution of nets, where they can test you and say this is malaria, okay? So that in case it is malaria, they treat you with the right efficacious medicine. And then if it's not, then you have to think of other fever-causing symptoms. So the strategy for testing for malaria, ruling it out, is very, very important in our management of malaria cases. Now, the signs and symptoms basically depend on whether it is what we call severe malaria or uncomplicated malaria. The usual symptoms are common: joint pains, headache, fever, loss of appetite, a little bit of weakness, and so on. But those things can progress if untreated. That is, the simple malaria treated treated within less than 24 hours, can progress to severe malaria, where you become very anemic. You can start convulsing, that is, getting convulsions. You can start getting passing bloody red urine, bloody urine. You can lose, you're going to start getting disturbed and you think you are mad. You can even collapse and die immediately. For the pregnant women, of course, they may start bleeding and aborting, or getting into labor. Getting into labor prematurely. For the children, of course, it's even worse. Usually they have severe diarrhea and vomiting, and they come dehydrated. Right now, as I talk, in Kampala, where the prevalence, like my colleague here has put it, is low, we are because of the high level of compliance and a bit of high economic status. People sleeping in Kololo, Nakasero, and even New Jagenda, wherever you sleep. That is even the state house. That's even the state house. People, we've seen as clinicians that we are getting children with severe complications, and we've lost some children. Some families have lost their 12-year, 8-year-old children because of malaria complicating into severe, the complicated thing. It comes and the child gets kidney failure immediately. Although even kidney failure is common in COVID. So you can see the two diseases are like sisters. Surprising enough, actually, when COVID had started, they were using chloroquine, which was previously used, but that is a different topic. But the point I want to bring to my relatives and friends and all listeners and viewers, that malaria in Kampala is more severe, especially the fact that actually there is less of the malaria disease, but when it gets you, it may overwhelm you. And especially I saw now that people have been on Christmas holiday, end of year, we can import malaria from the villages where people went to here. So when
how do we do that? How do we import malaria? Because we think malaria is brought by a mosquito.
Yeah, when you go to the villages,
you're bitten by a mosquito and I'm not bitten by a mosquito, then what happens? You
import it in your body. Like when people go for their Christmas and end of year holiday, they don't take their net. I mean, it's interesting that we've had a bit of policy. Should somebody go to the village, he should take a net with him or get other methods that can control malaria. But most people go to the village for Christmas holidays without a net, and when they come back, the mosquitoes in the village will bite them. And when they come here, they are overtaken by the development of the symptoms. So it is by policy that when you get a fever, within 24 hours, you should report to the nearest health facility to make a diagnosis whether it is malaria or any other disease. So, as we said, complicated malaria is what is very dangerous.
What would be the cost of treating complicated malaria? If somebody got to those levels, what would be the cost of overcoming that?
I think, first of all, if you don't die, first of all, you are likely to die. You're likely to get complications like the mentally sick people you see in Tabika and so on. They could have acquired a post-malaria sequela when they were, when they didn't treat it. So when it goes in the brain, it can have a lot of sequela. So
is that what they call cerebral malaria?
Yeah,
or cerebral is different.
No, that's the same. Cerebral means brain.
Brain, yes.
So it could
brain malaria.
Yeah, it could lead to that and get mentally sick. You even get mentally retarded. Some of these poorly performing children at school, they've had severe malaria in their childhood and the brain was damaged, it does not get blood. So they perform poorly as a result. But the cost of treating malaria, if you are lucky and you survive it, because it will now, the treatment will be you have to be admitted and stay in for about 3 to 5, or even a week, or even more, depending on what complications you've had. If you had kidney complications, you may even go to renal dialysis, quite a lot of things. But put simply, given the current treatment where we give intravenous injections plus other treatments, the treatment may not cost less than $72. $72 put to about 3,600. That's about 300,000 shillings. That excludes the opportunity costs, because if you're in hospital, your uncle will have to come and see you. You have to bring you. So excluding the opportunity costs, but that is specifically for medicine alone, and that is the cheapest. Otherwise, you can go to as much as thousands of dollars, depending on how. But the minimum cost, just calculating the cost of medicine, like injectable artesunate plus a few little other things in a hospital, without even accommodation, as it were, if you went to a private hospital, is 72, just on the cost of medicine, without professional fees. And so the cost of treatment of malaria is best avoided by trying to use the mosquito net we are going to distribute, making sure that your house is sprayed against the mosquitoes if you are able to afford, if you're a rich man, like Nwabine here, and Jagena, if you can spray your house, because it costs a little bit of money, but for about 6-8 months, you are protected from mosquito-man contact.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Nwabine,
Yes,
just coming back to you, when I starting this exercise, when you end it, and what should the people expect from you as KCC, and what are these notifications? Did you just come there, or people should prepare themselves? Because we have people who are working informally in markets everywhere, people who are officially in offices and all the things, and you could drop there. Jagenda is not there, here working, and nobody's at home to receive the net or something. How are you going to do it?
Your girlfriend should be there.
So the exercise has started. The exercise started with the training of the village health teams and all those data collectors and all those that are going to be involved. We have moved on to registration, which is going on even right now in the various parishes and villages across the city. Now tomorrow we are starting the actual distribution of the nets. These nets have already been put at various storage points within the city, within the parishes, especially at the LOC2 point, where about 5 LOCs can come, or 6. Now, the village health teams and the local council leaders, as well as our people, our trained personnel that have gone through with the registration, are directing people to where they are actually supposed to collect these nets from, the closest points to their villages. Now, if these people have not come to your household, you have the village health teams, the village health personnel, the LOCs, whom you can go to right now, this evening, and then find out, where am I supposed to pick my net? We need also the proactive approach. We must equally be proactive, but that does not mean that we shall not get to each household. Okay,
talk about the free and fair distribution. Are these given out freely? And we're looking at people will take advantage of this distribution. Jagena, for example, comes and they even choose, you do not support my political party, you do not support my candidate, you do not support my candidature, for example, you know, all those things. You are not of the same religion with me, or
we don't drink together.
We don't drink together.
Now, we need to make this categorically clear. This is an effort by government
of Uganda,
the government of Uganda, and in this case now through KCCA, because it is one of the arms that government uses to save lives, to fight malaria. It is not a political activity. We have had some people saying that why during election time.
Exactly.
Some of them have said that. But the same way, we have not stopped using government roads because it's a political time. The same way we are continuing.
To go to government hospitals during campaign time.
To go to government hospitals during election time. The same way we are having water being distributed to the villages.
During this time.
The same way we are receiving salaries during election time. It is the same way the people of Uganda are receiving help to ensure that we fight against malaria. So, even the candidates in these areas, the political candidates are not being involved in this, but their households will get mosquito nets. But they're not being involved in the distribution. Whoever is standing is not being involved, but shall receive.
So you get a mosquito net. And with no additions of this net from
Secondly, there is no cost. No one is supposed to pay any money to receive a mosquito net. Nobody is supposed to pay any money. If we catch you paying anybody, you'll face the full wrath of the law. And also maybe what doctor may not have brought out clearly.
As we conclude,
that these mosquito nets are for use in the household to protect against malaria. Let us not sell them. If we find out that you have received a mosquito net and you are selling it, we shall equally prosecute you.
Because you're giving one for every 2 people?
Yes.
One for every 2 people?
One for every 2 people.
Okay, so if we 5 in the house, then we get 2 mosquito nets?
No. If you're 5, you will get 3.
Or if you're 5, we get 3?
These mosquito nets are not for sale. They are not for sale. They are not for use in poultry. We have communities along the lake. They are not for fishing. They are for protection against...
Even not Francois.
And not Francois.
Even isn't Francois.
Yeah, it was on TV last night.
No, I didn't see that actually.
So in Busia, they were using it for catching these blind ants. Quite a lot of them.
So these mosquito nets are to save human life.
Okay.
And we ought to use them as such.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you so much because our time has run out. Final from you,
Finally,
Dr. Lugema.
Put it simply, I think a mosquito has no religion, has no party, it has nothing. It will bite you as long as you're a human being.
So and as long as you're available to it.
You're available to it. So you'd rather not make yourself available by using that net which government will have given you. So I implore our viewers that these nets, like, by the way, we are lucky enough to have been allowed to give out these nets under the COVID guidance. That's why COVID must be viewed as a very important... we had to get permission from WHO. We had to get permission from the donors of these nets. We had to get permission from the presidential COVID certificate to allow us to distribute the nets. We should have started in April and ended around October. But there was that delay looking for that permission to get us. That's why everything is being done under COVID guidance. You will see people sanitizing, you see people masked, and even they're no longer even writing, they'll be taking your picture as the picture of any member of the household to prove that actually this net was given this. So we are trying to do it under COVID guidelines because we got special permission. Otherwise, we would never have distributed these nets. And therefore, implore people to use the nets, take this opportunity. Malaria kills, but we can eliminate it by trying to reduce the mass.
Yeah. Okay. Final from you in just 1 minute.
In just 1 minute, the people of Kampala should embrace this activity. We should support it and use these mosquito nets effectively to fight against malaria. We are going into an election period, and as a city, we ask everyone to be peaceful. This is a once in every 5 years activity, but we should not do anything that will disrupt business within the city. At KCCA, we are committed and ready to serve you now and beyond the elections. So let us stay working together. Let us do everything to have a healthy and peaceful Kampala.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Nwawine, Daniel, from the KCCA, and thank you so much, Dr. Myers Lugema, from the ministry. And of course, to you, the people, let's embrace the exercise. Let's receive the mosquito nets without attaching any political connotations to it. Do not ask questions why it's coming to you now, because a mosquito will not wait for 14th of January after the election to actually come and decide whether to bite you or not to bite you. This mosquito can bite you tonight, it can bite you tomorrow, it can bite you on the 14th. And actually, this mosquito can actually fail you from going on the 14th to vote. So you need to keep away the mosquito for you to actually be able to even go and vote. Now, we'll embrace the exercise without any politics attached to it. Receive the mosquito nets. Don't use them for the other things. sleep under a mosquito net to protect your life and yourself. We thank you so much. Forgotten my country, my name is Jagan Semakola Ziksoka. A very good evening. Stay blessed. Until Monday. Thank you.
Thank you.
As one of the strategies to protect Ugandans against malaria. Under the ongoing mosquito net distribution campaign, residents in the districts of Kampala and Wakiso will receive mosquito nets on Sunday 10th and Monday 11th January 2021. Your village health team members will move to your respective homes on Friday 8th and Saturday 9th January to register your household members. Distribution of the mosquito nets will take place at designated distribution points on Sunday 10th and Monday 11th 2021 in your respective villages. All households will get at least a mosquito net. Distribution points will be communicated by your VHTs. Ensure that you pick your mosquito nets from the distribution point. The distribution exercise will consider protection of all beneficiaries against malaria and COVID-19. Chase malaria out of your home. Sleep under a mosquito net every night. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health.